and go. Dominaria United. Spoiler hype. Video number 13. Is this unlucky? Does it mean the Phyrexians are going to win? Who knows? So let's move on to the next one. It's the Weatherseed Treaty. 1 green and 2 for an enchantment saga with read ahead that reads, Chapter 1, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Already mana ramp. Chapter 2, create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token. Token generation? Not bad. And Chapter 3 says domain. Target creature you control gains +X and gains trample until end of turn, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Well, you just search for a land, and if it's like I spoke of earlier, a triome, you've got three basic land types, and possibly 4 if you chose one that didn't include green. So that would make a +X +4/+4 and trample to any creature. And you've got a green sapperling out there? Already fun. Hoo-ha. Next up, Night of Dawn's Light. 1 white and 1 for a 2/2 human knight with first strike. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. For 1 white and 1, Night of Dawn's Light gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So pumpable, gaining extra life. Well, that's what white does. So next up is Mossbeard Ancient. A beefy 2 green and 5 colorless for a 7/7 tree folk with trample. When Mossbeard Ancient enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. Wow. Big beefy creature with trample and you gain life. That's decent. Next up is Love Song of Night and Day. 1 white, 2 colorless for an enchantment saga with read ahead that reads, Chapter 1, you and target opponent each draw 2 cards. That could get nasty and something I'll talk about later. Chapter 2, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Okay. And Chapter 3 is put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. That's decent for what you pay. Hoo-ha. Next up, because I'm a big dragon man, and my friend Paws Brown is also a big dragon fan, I will link his channel in the description below. Visit his channel. He always stays positive. He loves Wednesdays. That's his hump day. He has videos. He has live streams. He's all sorts of fun. So check him out when you get a chance. But next up is the Elder Dragon War. 2 red and 2 colors for an enchantment saga with read ahead that reads, Chapter 1, the Elder Dragon War deals 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. Well, that'd be fun in Commander. Get rid of the weenies and pit all your opponents for 2. Sounds good to me. Chapter 2, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. Well, hand cycling. That's kind of a red thing. And then Chapter 3, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. So any number of those you could do for the mana that you spend. And if you're playing in a dragon deck, I wouldn't be unhappy with this card at all. Next up is Shield Wall Sentinel. 4 colorless mana for a 1/3 golem with Defender. When Shield Wall Sentinel enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with Defender. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So if you're playing a Defender deck, like a Arcady Sabath Commander deck, hoo-haw! Because all of those are, a lot of those are creatures that are they deal damage due to their toughness rather than their power. So, hoo-haw! Sunbathing Root Walla, 1 green and 1 for a 2/2 lizard with domain that reads 1 green and 3 until end of turn. Sunbathing Root Walla gets +1/+1 for each basic land type among lands you control. Activate only once per turn. Well, that's kind of what the Root Wallas do. They get a little bit bigger based on some land pumping. So that's nice. Next up is yet another card that I'm going to mention, and it's something a little later. And this is Phyrexian Warhorse. 1 black and 3 colors for a 3/3 Phyrexian horse. Yet another thing we saw in the Rosewater spoilers. It has a kicker of 1 white mana. When Phyrexian Warhorse enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And for 1 colorless mana, sacrifice another creature. Phyrexian Warhorse gains +2/+1 until end of turn. So it becomes a 5/4 for 1 mana and sack another creature. Hoo-ha! Next up is Hammerhand. 1 red mana for an enchantment aura. It says enchant creature. When Hammerhand enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. Fun, fun, fun. Next up is Smash to Dust. And I believe this is a reprint, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've seen it once or twice before. I can't remember the set. Please correct me in the comments if I am wrong. And it's 1 red and 1 for a sorcery that reads, choose 1. Destroy target artifact, or destroy target creature with Defender, or Smash to Dust deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Super useful, super cheap, not unhappy, especially in a deck that, where artifacts are going to be a thing, Defender creatures are going to be a thing. So next up is Defiler of Instincts, and this is the red version of the Phyrexian paying mana thing. It's Defiler of Instincts is 2 red and 2 for what? This is what I'm taking because it's, like I said, it's in Japanese, and so I had to get the translation. So it looks like a Viashino Phyrexian. It's 4/4 with first strike. As an additional cost to cast red permanent spell, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 red less to cast if you paid life in this way. This effect only reduces the amount of red mana you pay. Whenever you cast a red permanent spell, Defiler of Instincts deals 1 damage to any target. That could be super useful, especially we've been talking about, decks that care about instants and sorceries. So there's a fun, useful card that can fit into a deck. Okay, next up, Yavimaya Sojourner. A beefy 1 green and 7 colorless for a 4/6 tree folk with domain. It says this spell costs 1 colorless less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control. So if you have all 5 land types, it's gonna be 1 green and 2 for a 4/6 tree folk. Another card that, if you're playing all colors of mana, that might be useful. I don't know how much play that will see. Next up is Aether Channeler. 1 blue and 2 colorless for a 2/1 human wizard that reads, whenever Aether Channeler enters the battlefield, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying, or return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, or draw a card. So you get some decent choices. Token creation, bouncing a permanent, or drawing a card. Whatever you need for the situation at hand. Next up, Relic of Legends. It's another mana rock. For 3 colorless mana, you have an artifact that says tap, add 1 mana of any color. And it says tap any legendary creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. So it adds mana itself, and then you can tap your legendaries to add more mana. Not unhappy. Next up is Rada Coalition Warlord. Excuse me. Reads 1 red, 1 green, 2 colors for a 3/3 legendary elf warrior with domain. Whenever Rada Coalition Warlord becomes tapped, another target creature you control gains +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of basic land types you control. Well, that's a variation on Rada's other abilities that we've seen in past versions of Rada. So, yeah, the domain version. Okay, next up is Academy Lore Master. 2 blue mana for a 2/3. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player may draw an additional card. If they do, spells they cast this turn cost 2 colorless more to cast. So if you need another draw, you can do it, but it comes at a price. But it's 2 blue mana for a 2/3 human wizard. In itself is value enough. And you got that possibility of extra draw. So, not an unhappy thing. And finally, the last one for today, for right now, and we're getting close to having all these spoilers done. I think tomorrow will be the last day we'll have spoilers, and so buckle up, buttercups, and here's Shadowrite Priest. 1 black and 1 for a 2/2 human cleric. It says other clerics you control get +1/+1. And it reads 2 black and 3 colorless. Tap it, sacrifice another cleric, search your library for a black creature card, and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Hoo-ha! And I've looked through. We've gone through a number of clerics that have really been useful. And there's Elas Ilkor Sadistic Pilgrim we talked about. Is whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life, and whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life. So you sack the creature, your opponent loses a life, and you bring a creature onto the battlefield, you gain a life. What's not to like about that? And there's Phyrexian Missionary, which is a whole a white cleric with a kicker of a black and a colorless. It's a 2/3 lifelink. When he enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, from your graveyard to your hand. So you can keep bringing your creatures back that you've sacrificed back to your hand, and like I said, this has lifelink, so you keep gaining life. And you pair that with Sheoldred, which is absolutely insane. And we'll go over Sheoldred here in just a second. Let me scroll down to where she's at. Oop, I think I rolled over her somewhere. Okay. Gotta find her. Was she on the previous page? Oops, somehow I was... Hey, where'd you go, you big Phyrexian beastie? Come on, I know you're... Where are you? You piece of... There you are. Yeah, Sheoldred says whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. So, you can... Sheoldred is a beast in herself. And my video's up to 18 minutes now because I spent a lot of time searching for her. So, I will do, when all the spoilers are over, I will do a video on all sorts of, a top 10 video of top 10 cards I think are going to see play and are powerful cards in this deck. I will have a video on the commander cards. I will also have a video on decks I think are gonna see play in standard and in commander. So we're gonna end the video here. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.